Hi guys, welcome back to another Hugh video. In this video, we're going to be tackling two Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge phones that are in dire need of repair. What sounded like a straightforward process turned into a bit of a repair saga. The first phone was acquired in a previous tech lot video from June of 2020. It's had its fair share of abuse with a destroyed screen and badly cracked back. To make matters worse, its battery has expanded and the phone is now coming apart at the seams. So much so, it's even pushed out a portion of the display. The second phone came from a bulk Samsung parts lot that I purchased in 2019. What was originally going to be a tech lot video never emerged, as I didn't find it all that interesting. The best of what was included was two S7 Edge boards. The remainder included two Galaxy S5 phones and a few broken digitizers that had been removed from their displays. While I won't be fixing the S5s, I will test them later on and explain what I did with them. The first thing I needed to do was test the two motherboards from the 2019 lot. So using my tester screen, I could install the first motherboard and a battery to see if it powers on. After a press of the power button, it sprang into life, but it's locked with a passcode, so will need to be reset. I'll test out the other board, which is already sitting inside a frame. While there's no screen attached, it still has a few pieces inside that will be helpful to fix up one of these phones. I swapped the board into my test screen. It also powered on, however it isn't without issue. Looking past the fact it's locked to a US carrier, it was really slow and kept restarting every few minutes, even after flashing new software, so there's something really wrong with this board. However, what we're left with are two salvageable phones. Starting with the fully assembled phone, I'll remove its back panel to gain access to the Phillips screws holding the wireless charging module and speaker in place. After they are removed, the two pieces can come out. With our first proper look inside, everything looks original, including that battery which is expanded and about ready to burst. For those wondering, it doesn't charge. Proceeding, we can detach all of the connections to the motherboard so we can get it out. I really like the design of these older Samsungs, with their curved screens and bezels that come in a wide range of different colours. The S7 and Note 7 were some of the nicest looking phones Samsung's ever made. After the main board is out, it's time for the remainder of the components. This includes the vibration motor, sensor cable, and earpiece. While the earpiece is out, it's a good time to clean all of the gunk out of it with a brush. Next, I can remove the headphone jack and two antenna wires from the phone. One big design flaw with these older Samsungs is the navigation buttons for the screen attached directly to the charging port, so while you can replace it, the screen has to come off, making it virtually impossible to replace without breaking the screen. Speaking of screens, now that we've removed everything we need, it's time to get it into a new frame. And this is where the saga begins. I purchased a refurbished display for this phone for 162 Australian dollars. After reinstalling everything and testing, I found the fingerprint reader didn't work. So I returned that display and got another refurbished screen. Not only did the fingerprint reader still not work, but it also had burn-in of the camera record button. So for my third attempt, I spent an extra $30 on a brand new display, which came to $195. I also opted for the gold one as I thought it looked a bit nicer. And that's the reason older Samsungs just don't get fixed. They're still great phones, but it costs just as much to fix as it is to buy one. So unless you find a used screen for cheap, expect to pay a lot for a replacement. However, as I paid next to nothing for my two, I didn't mind. However, if the screen you're replacing has a good OLED display and just cracked glass, you can sell them for a considerable amount of money to a refurbishing company and recoup a bit of money. I got $25 for the tester screen I was using earlier. After installing all of the smaller components onto the new frame, it's time for the motherboard to be installed. Navigating it through all the flex cables, it can be positioned into place. After connecting the flex cables for the charging port, buttons, and display, we can fit a battery to test the phone. I found it strange that the splash screen and wallpaper didn't change to accommodate the new display's colour, like it would on the Galaxy Note 7. While testing, I overlooked something that would later cause another issue. Maybe it was just the fact that I was so happy to finally have a working display that I didn't pick up on the fact that the phone was lagging like crazy. But with finally having a working display, it was time to continue reassembling. I can install the earpiece, SIM card tray and front-facing camera next. With that, it's time for the battery to go in. I'll remove the protective film over the adhesive, connect the battery and press it down into place. With our phone starting to come back together, it's time for the speaker and wireless charging coil to be reattached. After positioning them, they can be fastened with their several Phillips head screws. Before we can attach the new back panel, the old adhesive must be removed. It can be scraped away using a spudger. Once that's done, we can turn our attention to the new back panel. Here I'll remove all the plastic protective film from both the adhesive and camera lens before we line it up and press it firmly down into place onto our Galaxy S7 Edge. And with that, all that's left to do is remove the plastic protective film. And with that, I thought we were done. But it turns out this S7 Edge had one last attempt to derail my repair. After about 1 month, the new battery we installed has expanded. Earlier, I stated overlooking that the phone was lagging. Well, this is one great method of knowing if a battery is bad. If the phone doesn't lag when plugged in, this can tell you the battery isn't supplying enough voltage or current, so the phone is struggling to keep up. I'll need to open the phone back up and replace it. I used the best battery I could find at the time, but since have purchased 2 apparently Samsung official batteries. The dodgy battery now has 2 ridges protruding vertically down its length. If you've seen my battery scam video, you'll know to never put no-name batteries inside your phone. That includes a battery like the one I'd put in. You might also be skeptical of the new so-called Samsung battery as much as myself, but it looks to be one-to-one with the original. All of the text is correct and it even has the serial on the back, which knockoffs always miss. Unfortunately, it's not always possible to get an original battery, so even people like myself are forced to use aftermarket parts, and this is why right to repair is so important. As of November 2021, Apple is now complying with right to repair laws by introducing a self-repair program in 2022. It'll be interesting to see if companies like Samsung follow suit. But for now, I'll have to take the gamble that this is an original battery and get it installed in the phone. I'll also need to apply some new adhesive to that back panel we installed previously. After removing that plastic protective film once again from the back panel, we can reattach it onto the Galaxy S7 Edge. And with that, our first phone is officially fixed. Before assembling the other S7 Edge, I just wanted to mention the Galaxy S5s. Both of the ones I received in the lot worked, and I also had another laying around. I was planning on fixing them all. However, the displays I purchased were not OLED replacements, but just cheap LCDs, so they didn't fit properly. And I didn't find it financially viable to repair them properly. So in the end, I just decided to throw them into someone's order on my store who had already purchased some other phone parts. For our second S7 Edge, I've learnt my lesson and purchased a brand new display to begin with. The black screens for some reason were $10 cheaper than the other coloured ones, so I went with it. As the second phone is just a bare motherboard, I'll be using all the parts I can from the Sprint phone that randomly reboots. It still has its antenna cables, a vibration motor, an earpiece and its sensor cable, all things we need and will transfer into our new frame. I can now remove all the plastic protective film over the earpiece, front camera, and thermal pads. From here, the motherboard can be installed and have its flex cables reattached. Both of the new displays claim to be Samsung service packs, but I beg to differ. The giveaway for me is the lack of the grey metal piece that's glued on top of the display connector. Both of the replacement displays lacked this. Despite that though, both screens work flawlessly, so I'm happy. After testing, I can continue to reassemble the phone by installing the earpiece sensor and front-facing camera. As I was essentially building a phone from just a motherboard, I also needed a wireless charging module and speaker. These were purchased fairly inexpensively online. After assembling the wireless charging module onto its plastic backing piece, I can remove its plastic protective film. I'll also need some screws to hold everything together. I purchased a pack of 100, which will be certainly useful for other projects. The battery can now be installed along with the speaker. After my experience with the Gold phone, I opted to ensure the battery was genuine. As I had ordered 2 genuine batteries, I will use the other in this phone. With that, the wireless charging module can be attached to the phone and screwed down with its Phillips head screws. The last thing left to do is install the back panel. I'll firstly remove all of the plastic protective film and attach it to the frame of the phone. After installing the SIM card reader, we can remove the plastic protective film from our new display and back panel. And we're done. So this is it. 2 Galaxy S7 Edges restored back into a working state. Having jumped through many hurdles to get these 2 phones working again, it's great to see that they will live on in the hands of their new owners. I have sold both phones for $250, which is close to what I put into them. I probably could have got $275 or $300, but honestly, I just did this for a bit of fun and to clear out some space from my broken phone box. Officially, these phones only support up to Android 8, but as the bootloader is unlockable, you can install whatever you like, including the newest Android. And on that note, this has been a Hugh Jeffries video. If you like what you saw, hit that subscribe button and consider checking out the phone restoration playlist for more videos just like this one. And if you're looking for any used devices, be sure to check out my online store, link for which is down in the description. That's all for this video, and I'll catch you guys next time.